Let's say the government slaps a 25% tariff on something you buy every day. Most people think that means the other country pays 25% more. They don't. You do. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how that money moves, from the factory, through the border, and straight onto your receipt. Step by step. No politics, just the money trail. A tariff is a tax. That's it. But it's not a tax on you directly. It's a tax on goods when they cross a border. Here's how it works. A company in China makes a coffee maker. It costs about $40 to build. They ship it to the US, and a store here sells it for $50. Simple. Now, think about that for a second. You walk into a store, grab a coffee maker off the shelf, pay $50, and go home. You never think about where it was made or how it got there. The system is invisible to you, until it isn't. Now imagine the government adds a 25% tariff on that coffee maker. That means when it arrives at the US border, someone has to pay an extra $10 to customs. But here's the part most people get wrong. That bill doesn't go to China. It doesn't go to the Chinese factory. It goes to the American company bringing the product in. So the store that was paying $40 before is now paying $50. Their profit just vanished. And that leaves them with a decision. They have three choices. Option 1, raise the price. The store bumps the coffee maker from $50 to $60. You, the customer, end up paying the tariff. This is what happens most of the time. Studies from the Federal Reserve show that nearly all of the tariff cost gets passed to the consumer. Not some, nearly all. And this isn't just theory. When the United States put tariffs on washing machines in 2018, the price of washers jumped by about 12% almost overnight. But here's the strange part. The price of dryers went up too, even though dryers weren't tariffed. Retailers raised both prices because people usually buy them together. That's how this works. A tariff hits one product and the prices ripple into everything around it. Option 2, absorb the cost. The store keeps the price at $50, but now their margin drops from $10 to $0. They might do that for a short time to stay competitive, but long-term, they either raise prices anyway or they go under. And for small businesses, this hits even harder. A giant retailer might survive a few months of losses. A small importer with thin margins often can't. Some just stop carrying the product entirely. Option 3, switch suppliers. Instead of buying from China, the store finds a factory in Vietnam or Mexico. But here's the thing. If those factories were cheaper, the store would already be buying from them. The alternative supplier is almost always more expensive. Maybe the coffee maker becomes $55 instead of $60, but the price still goes up. So no matter which option they choose, 1, 2, or 3, the outcome is the same. The consumer pays more. Choices shrink. Or both. That's not opinion. That's how the math works. But the price increase is only the first effect. Here's where the hidden costs start showing up, the ones nobody puts on a receipt. First, the supply chain ripple. That coffee maker isn't made from one thing. It's steel, plastic, electronics, wiring, maybe a dozen components from 5 different countries. If tariffs hit those materials too, even products built in America become more expensive. A factory in Ohio making coffee makers still needs imported parts. Their costs go up, your price goes up. And modern supply chains make this even more complicated. A tariff on steel doesn't just affect steel. It affects cars, appliances, construction, packaging, anything that uses steel somewhere in the process. Tariffs don't just tax foreign goods, they tax the ingredients inside domestic goods. Second, retaliation. When one country raises tariffs, the other country usually hits back. The United States taxes Chinese electronics. China responds by taxing American soybeans. Suddenly, farmers in Iowa can't sell their crop overseas. Prices drop, income falls, jobs disappear. During the 2018 trade war, American soybean exports to China dropped by about 75% in a single year. Billions of dollars vanished almost overnight. The U.S. government ended up paying farmers emergency subsidies to make up the losses.
which means taxpayers paid twice, once through higher consumer prices and again through those bailouts. None of that shows up in the original tariff announcement. Third, uncertainty. This one is invisible, but it might be the most expensive cost of all. When businesses don't know what tariffs will look like next month, they freeze, they delay hiring, they postpone investments, they hold on to cash instead of building new factories. The economy doesn't slow down because of the tariff itself. It slows down because nobody knows what's coming next. And uncertainty spreads. One company pauses investment. Their suppliers lose orders. Those suppliers cut jobs. And suddenly, one policy announcement has chilled an entire industry. So that $10 tariff on a coffee maker reaches much further than anyone expected. It touches your grocery bill, a farmer's income, and a factory that was about to hire 200 people. And that raises an obvious question. If tariffs raise prices, hurt businesses, and trigger retaliation, why does any government use them? Because tariffs aren't really about economics. They're about leverage. A tariff says we're willing to make our own people pay more to put pressure on you. It's a negotiation tool. Sometimes it works, the other country opens its markets, changes a policy, or makes a deal. And sometimes it doesn't, and both sides simply end up poorer. This isn't new, by the way. One of the most famous examples is the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930. The United States raised tariffs on more than 20,000 imported goods during the Great Depression. Other countries retaliated. Global trade collapsed by about 65%. Most economists today believe it made the Depression significantly worse. That doesn't mean all tariffs are bad. There are real reasons governments use them. To protect new industries that can't compete yet. For national security, you don't want to depend entirely on another country for critical materials. Or to respond to unfair trade practices, like governments heavily subsidizing their companies to undercut yours. But even when tariffs are justified, they still cost you money. The question was never, are tariffs free? There never are. The real question is what we gain worth what we pay? And the honest answer is, it depends. On the goal, the size of the tariffs, how long they last, and whether anyone actually has a plan for what comes next. So the next time you hear someone say, we're putting a 25% tariff on this product, you'll know the real question to ask. Not, is this tough on the other country? Ask instead, where does that money actually land? Because almost every time, the answer ends up in the same place, your wallet. Most people never see it. Now you do. That's what second order is about, showing you the hidden side of how money really moves. If that's something you want to understand, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.